Hi, this is Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition and G4 and 2021 D&D Live, or D&D Live. Yeah, I think it's D&D 2021 Live, or D&D Live 2021. All right, so let's talk about this. So this is a part of Dungeons & Dragons now. It's a very weird part of Dungeons & Dragons. So the Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition design team, man, they got a lot to worry about. They got so much on their plate, it's incredible. So not only do they need to make product, but when they get on the other end of the product, they need to advertise it. And I think it's very hard for them to advertise their product. I think they're just fun. I think overall, Wizards of the Coast is not good at advertising their product, right? So one, they don't want to lie to people, right? And they want to say, oh, this is very accessible. But the vast majority, like every source book they make, is incredibly inaccessible, right? They're basically, I don't think a single one of the source books can be used with the Essentials kit, right? You need the MMM, the MM, the PHB, and the DMG, right? That's over 750 pages of content, right? That is a huge. You're approaching. And also the source book itself. So minimum, if you are advertising even a single source book, you're looking at 1,000 pages of content, right? That's not an accessible product, right? And so they can't lie and say, oh, hey, anybody can get this here, but they also don't want to be like, hey, if you already have these 3 books and you're a dungeon master and you're pretty engaged, know what you're doing, then you can use this product, which is the truth, right? So they really struggle to advertise this stuff, right? So one of the things is, I'm a big listener right now on Nerd Immersion. If you're not listening to Nerd Immersion, check him out. I have to, frankly, he's doing a better job than me. I try to make my content the best I can. I'm more prolific than him. There you go. But you should definitely check out Nerd Immersion. And he explained that 2020 D&D Live was a mess. It was a hot mess. So the 2020 D&D Live it's their annual, it's their main event. They want to make big. It's a celebration of their product. It's them bringing in the best people they can connect to the product, celebrity-wise. It's them showcasing their products and really just making an event that they own 100%, that they don't have to share with anybody else, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but Comic-Con is dying. Because brands are like, okay, we get it. You guys have this great platform, but you want a lot of control over what we put on and when, and we don't like sharing space with all these other vendors, right? So more and more places are going to their own private event. Once a year, they have an event that is completely uninterrupted, and the event is solely focused on their product and no one else's product, right? And that's what D&D 2021 Live is going to be, and that's what D&D 2020 Live was. But their partner that they partnered with did not do a good job of doing what? Why? So, by the way, Wizards of the Coast cannot put on D&D 20X, right? D&D 2020, D&D 2021 Live. None of them. They can't do it by themselves. And the reason why is it's a show. Essentially, you're doing a show for the world, right? And the world has to have access. And you're going to get millions of hits. You're going to get press people. It's major. It is a huge event that has to be incredibly, incredibly carefully orchestrated, right? And so if you're doing this and you have this event and you're carefully orchestrating it and you're making it work, you need an actual real, you need a journalism platform, right? You need press. You need a press partner, right? So last year, I don't even remember who they partnered with, right? But I know it was a failure because Nerd Immersion said it was a failure, and I agree with him. I remember there were a lot of complaints, right? From the D&D community that it was not handled well, right? So this year, Dungeons & Dragons is partnering with G4, okay? So let's talk about their new partner, G4. So one, this G4 is really interesting because what it is it is a television network for video games and for gaming content, okay, that is not sports related, okay? And so I went over to their site, and like, because Dungeons and Dragons is very proud. They're like, we're proud to announce we're partnering with G4 to put on this event. Now, what is G4 going to bring to the party, right? Well, I suppose they're going to bring literally commentators, right? Like narrators, right? Not just narrators, but also like, what's the best way to explain this? It is like a sports commentator, right? So they're going to be doing essentially a D&D commentator. So, and these people are going to be event commentators. I think that, and they will equip them with mics, and they will have, professional backgrounds, and they'll be able to simultaneously tweet, and they'll be able to put on live streams and give and take questions from crowds during the live streams in lots of different ways. Current modern events are very, very complicated to put on, right? And the reality is, Wizards of the Coast, because they are a tabletop role-playing game company at heart, they just don't have the juice to do this, which is totally understandable. And nowadays, I think all like the NFL, they can't do that. Like, I don't think they have the ability to televise their content. They can't. They have to leave that up to televisers, right? Television networks. And that's exactly where D&D is. D&D is putting on huge events now, and they need media partners. And so G4 is being brought in. Now, what frustrates me a little bit is the only groups that really have the technical savvy to do these kind of things is video games. So more and more, as Dungeons & Dragons events are being put together, are being crafted, are being put together, put out there, made to become reality, made to be real, right? The distribution of their content, they're going to increasingly need to have these media partners. Hopefully G4 is going to work for them. I am a little worried. I went over to G4 site, and they're like, and their about page was horrible. It was like, we're G4, we're coming back. And I'm like, coming back? I didn't even know you exist before, right? Like, and so like they were expecting people to know what G4 meant, even in their about page, right? So I am a little alarmed. I'm not sure that that D&D has fixed this media partner problem. Now, why are they struggling with this media partner problem? It's a very real thing, right? The reason why is D&D, just watching a D&D game because it takes 4 hours is the current standard, and because the game has done very, very little to make the game actually move quickly, to make it be able to tell stories dramatically. It is a low viewer rate, right? It's like ping pong, like there's just not a lot of viewers for it, right? So when Wizards of the Coast, who is a multi-billion-dollar, they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They do billions of dollars if not every year. Actually, I know Wizards of the Coast did about 0.75 billion last year. I think it was like 0.8 billion. Right, but over the years, like, they've done billions of dollars of product, so they are a multi-billion-dollar company, right? They might not do $1 billion in a year, but they do $1 billion over the course of 2 or 3 years, right? So even though they come and they're like, we got real money, we got real talent, we got real product, they don't have real viewers. They really don't have real viewers, because they're competing with sports, and they're competing with esports, right? And so D&D is just this really strange product there. So, honestly, I've done the research, and I am not impressed with G4. I think they're new, and D&D is starting them up because I think G4 is going to try to do a great job for them. And this is kind of like the little local startup. G4 really doesn't look like a big-scaled company to me, right? So, hopefully I'm wrong, and G4 is really determined, and they're positioning themselves to be a major media outlet going forward. But I'm a little worried. I think they may have problems in D&D 2021 live, just because G4 doesn't look like it doesn't look like they have much, right? It looks like they're really at the beginning, right? Maybe Dungeons & Dragons knows something that we don't, that these guys are very determined, that these men and women at G4 are very determined, and they're going to give them a lot of attention. But I just hope they're at the scale that we need, and I hope that D&D 2021 goes better than D&D 2020 live, right? So that's kind of my prediction. I think G4 might be a risk. What's your opinion? What do you think that Wizards of the Coast should be doing as it continues to need television coverage at the same scale as sports and esports when it doesn't draw the same number of eyeballs? How do they get around this problem, right? And if they have this problem, are they going to be constantly trapped into this issue of dealing with second tier media content? Like, why isn't D&D 2021 live on ESPN, right? Like that would be, I think that would be a better model, right? Hopefully, I'm hoping I'm wrong here, and then G4 proves me wrong. Let's see what happens. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.